I just fucking recorded that and it fucking went. But, oh well. Alright. I was talking about free speech. I was talking about growth as a human being. And the things we do to become better. And what that means to become better. When you allow your emotions. And, you know, I've just recorded this whole video. I think I was doing like 20 minutes, maybe longer. I'm not annoyed. I'm not annoyed. That's what... Oh, no. I'm not annoyed. That's life, right? That is literally kind of the conclusion of my videos. You don't dictate what fucking happens around you. You just choose how you're gonna react to it. And I was saying, you know, let me start off with saying this. We are living in a society that is promoting feeling, allowing how you feel to dictate what you do in your life. We are allowing that, and that is becoming the norm. As someone that when they were younger would allow their feelings and thoughts to be my life, I used to cry every single day when I was younger until the age of probably, let's think about it, probably to the age of like 15, 16. I cried nearly every single day. I did a lot of things that was not growth. And I'll say this as well, what I was saying in the other video, like, there's two different versions of growth, primal growth in your life. There is the physical, that we don't have any control over. We might have maybe put a little bit of cream on, but it's not, you know what I mean. We have the physical that we don't control, and that's the external reality, growing and growing old, and that's our body dying. And then we have our mind. We have the mind. And that grows on our terms. That grows when we decide it grows. And when you let your feelings and emotions control who you are not seeing objectively, clearly. You are seeing emotionally. And metaphorically, you are a seed when you're born. You're a seed. Not the physical. We're not talking about the physical anymore. It's the mental side of you, the mind. You're a seed. And you get filled with knowledge, other people's knowledge, and other people's thought processes, and you sprout. And that's the beginning of who you are, right? And some people will grow somewhat, and they will stay, and they can get stuck. Whether that's they get into a comfort too much and allowing that comfort to dictate their lives, whether that's they love films or they love anime or games or whatever, and they get stuck in there. That's where they get stuck for years mentally. And they will justify it through how they feel. They will get fear to go against it because they don't know anything else. And they will let that cycle continue and continue and continue, and you don't grow mind. You don't grow your mind. You stay stagnant. And the people who grow their minds, the people who allow the metaphoric tree to sprout and grow and become lush and see loads of different versions of life and reality, are the ones that won't allow their emotions to dictate their response to their whole life. So they take self-accountability. They view themselves more objectively and see what is needed for growth. And let's go back to that, like they're a game, they're someone who played games or like watches films or whatever the case may be, or like, you know, anything, they will say to themselves, hold up, what are you doing? You're doing this too much. It's either making you overweight, it's doing this and this. And then they grow more. They will grow and they'll sprout more. And because they have grown more, they have the perspective to see where they were prior wasn't good for them. And they don't want to go back. Some people do go back. Some people try and get away and grow out of a ideology of belief of how to be. And they get too scared. And it's a shaky experience. It's like shredding skin, you know? And that's a fine metaphor. It's in reality as well, isn't it? We see skin, the shred of skin of snakes and spiders and things like this. It's the same thing in a metaphoric sense. It's a lot. It's a big deal. And some people will just go back. But the people who don't and allow their minds to grow see more clearly and objectively. And they see that as time goes on and more, they see more of the wrongdoings they will do to themselves and change it and change it and change it and change it to the point where they don't really let any of their emotion dictate their life. They, you know, but being angry is a choice. Being upset is a choice. Sometimes it's fine to be upset because it's a natural state of being and it's a reaction, but you need to move forward from that as quick as possible. You don't want to stay stuck in anger. You don't want to stay stuck in sadness. In fact, that can actually fucking burn the damn tree. And you know, fucking wipe out a lot of what you've learned, because some people get so angry or upset at life that it makes them depressed, or they've gone so far that way that they feel fear to look back at what they've done. And we are living in a time right now that is all about how you feel. Someone can get offended by another person's actions. So we need to dismantle that other person's actions so I don't feel sad. Well, that's completely ridiculous. That's ridiculous in so many ways, because you are a puppet to how you now feel. And a lot of people have not got taught. The only reason I know this stuff is because of being the opposite of who I am now. Being the person who was manipulative to people, would cry, would get angry, would all these things on a constant basis, because I was going through brain damage and I didn't know what to do. And all I knew was emotion, and I didn't get taught. And, you know, that is a lot of our parents' generation's problem. And, you know, humbly, in my personal opinion, the reason for that, I believe, is because they got indoctrinated into the system way too much, where they forgot individual family values, family morality, family normality. And they just got indoctrinated into the system and believed in it. And what does the system do? What happens when you watch a film? What happens when you watch TV? Two big things happen, really. You stop growing, which is fine sometimes. It's good to have comfort. You need to do stuff to luxury. You stop growing, you stop thinking, you go into a comfort zone, and you learn information from that. And a lot of the 80s and 90s was making this utopia of technology and freedom, do. You know, it really did affect my parents' generation. With, you know, some realise it, some don't. And it tore away what it means to parent a child. And what it means to parent a child is to give them the instructions of how to not be a whiny little boy anymore and become a man when you go out into the world. Self-accountability, not, being a pushover, not crying about things that not going your way and all these things. You are supposed to teach your children these moral standards so they can continue and hopefully make better lives for others. Let's be honest, that didn't really happen, did it? We got gaming systems, we got parents losing their fucking minds, having mental breakdowns, we got parents being physically abusive a lot. We got all these things without them teaching us moral, profound standpoints for our growth as a person. And then what did that do for my generation now? The generation that's changing and rioting now on the streets. What did that do? It justified their minds, monkey brain playing tricks on them, and their emotions. It justified it. It made that the normal. It made that their reality as they became adult. They physically became adult. Like I said, there's two different versions of this. They physically became adult, but they mentally became weak. They are weak. They do not grow. Growth shows you objectiveness, and it takes you away from thinking it's all about you. Because it's not all about your feelings. It's not all about you. You choose how you respond to it. You don't choose what happens to you in life. I could have this roof fall on me right now, and I could become a paraplegic. Now that's my choice how I'm going to respond to that. It is fully my choice. And a lot of people feel like this world is unjust, and it's not fair, and it's not how they want it to be. That's your feelings taking over reality. You don't choose what happens to you in life. You choose how you respond, grow, and become better. That's what you choose. But we don't get taught that, do we? We get taught, just go watch that film. Play on this iPad. Play that game. We let Hollywood be us. A fantasy world of Hollywood teach us more than our parents. And what's that done? It's now put people on the streets with guns and knives fucking pissing about. Because they don't know any better. And free speech, the purpose of free speech is for you to see it objectively and see that that's an individual's right to be able to say anything. It's not, you don't have to be sucked into it or push away or be hurt by it. It's just understanding it's their right as just a human being. Speech, blah, it's just their right. You don't have to agree with it or not. But the only reason you feel like some people out there feel like they have to only have things they hear to agree is because they don't ever have authority figures as parents when they were younger telling them what's right or wrong. So they have dictated what's right or wrong. And if they hear anything that's wrong, they will bash it down because they don't know anything else. They don't know what else to do with it. It hurts their emotion, feelings, and now that they're adults and they haven't got taught authority and go, wait a minute, maybe my parents' right to say I shouldn't have candy at this time. Maybe my parents' right to take me, to tell me to go to bed at 8. They haven't had that. They lash out on it and say, no, stop. Well, they might say, oh no, because they promote that, that's the thing, we can use complex language as adults, but it doesn't necessarily mean we even know what we're saying it for. We're saying it for the agenda of our feelings to feel protected. No, they're doing it because they're, white supremacist or whatever the case may be these fucking days, what everyone says. No, they say they'll justify it in their mind. Well, your mind is not you. Your mind plays tricks on you. I'm sure everyone's had those days. Alright, look. In a minute, I'm just going to stop this video and make another one because I don't want it to stop again, like I said the other one. But yeah, everyone has those days where your mind plays more tricks on you than normal, and it can tell you that person doesn't like you, and that's your ego. And the ego is the part of you that is the senses talking. It's the part that's seeing things, and that's your memory box, and you know, the past of you. And it's predicting the future, and that's your ego. It's this thing that thinks it knows. Your mind is trying to work itself out and trying to place a reality that isn't just reality now. It's trying to take you away from just right here, right now. Saying, no, wait. You've got to think of the past, because remember that memory and that future, that might connect to this, and then that person doesn't like you. That's not real. That is your mind playing tricks on you. Alright, I'm going to end this video and make a part 2.